Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, United Nations General Assembly President visits Nigeria, commends federal government for playing leading role in regional peace and security. Acting Inspector General of Police briefs Senate on modalities put in place to arrest insecurity, says force will recruit 10,000 to boost operations. And 2 jailed Reuters journalists regain freedom after more than 500 days in jail. I am Nten Ekman with details of these and other stories. The President of the United Nations General Assembly, Maria Fernanda Espinosa Garcia, on Tuesday met with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. Issues raised during the meeting were Nigeria's transition as the president of the 47th session of the UNGA and the important role Nigeria plays in regional peace and security with the Foreign Affairs Minister. Other programs lined up for the UN General Assembly included a visit to the University of Abuja and Ministry of Women Affairs. Ms. Espinosa Garcia will be leaving for Ghana on Wednesday as the final stop of her official trip to West Africa.
Is to acknowledge and recognize the important role that the Federal Republic of Nigeria plays for the multilateral system and the United Nations. Nigeria is very well recognized as a main actor of the UN peacekeeping efforts. Nigeria is also responsible for having declared the 24th of January the International Day for Education. It has promoted the agenda of illicit financial flows and assets recovery in a very strong and vocal campaign to fight corruption, but at the same time to find the resources for the very ambitious implementation of 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goal.
And similarly, the President of the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly, Maria Fernanda, says her visit to Nigeria is to strengthen ties and underscore the importance of multilateralism to solve global challenges. The President made this known at her official visit to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja. Our correspondent Ifeoluwa Ishola was there and now reports.
The visit of the 73rd President of the United Nations General Meeting, Maria Fernanda, to the office of the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyehama, was to, among other things, brainstorm on possible ways of ensuring that our visits profit both parties. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyehama, in his address, intimated the visiting president of areas the country is looking up to the United Nations for support.
Looking to have the support of the United Nations and your support in particular to address this challenge. And one of the mechanisms or strategies that we have identified is the recharging of the lake. This is going to be a very capital-intensive effort and something in the order of 40 to 50 billion US dollars estimated. And clearly we're going to have to leverage on the international community because these are huge resources. And again, we look for your support. And also the youth. We have a youth bulge in this country, demographic challenges in about 30 years. We're predicted to be, or projected to be, the third most populous country in this world. And with the economic challenges we're facing and the rate of economic growth, this is going to be a real challenge. And here again, we have to, together with the UN and other partners, really address this issue. Of course, economic growth is very much part of the agenda of this government. Also the issue of disabilities and support for the disabled.
In a remark, Maria Fernanda spoke of Nigeria's transition as the president of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly and the important role Nigeria plays in regional peace and security.
I am here to further strengthen the ties between Nigeria and the United Nations, and of course, as the minister was saying, only avenue, the only way that we can tackle, address and solve the global challenges that are impacting lives and livelihoods across the world, including, of course, climate change, as you very well mentioned. I'm also here to acknowledge and recognize the central role of this country for multilateralism, for the United Nations. Nigeria is very well known at the UN in New York and Vienna and Geneva. He's a very capable, strong member of the Human Rights Council of the United Nations, doing a great job. Nigeria has led the establishment of the International Day for Education on the 24th of January, if I'm not mistaken. It's really a prominent player in the multilateral arena.
The General Assembly is one of the 6 main organs of the United Nations, with only one having equal representation from member states, even as Nigeria looks forward to the presidency of the General Assembly. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Food and Agriculture Organization's representative in Nigeria, Sofian Koroma, has reaffirmed their commitment in supporting the government's initiatives towards meeting its obligation of hunger-free and assured food and nutrition security across the country. Sofian stated these at the launching of the Nigeria Country Programming Framework CCPF 2018 to 2022 and celebration of its 40 years presence in Nigeria, held here in Abuja. Ifeoluwa Ishola again reports.
The launching of the Country Programming Framework for Nigeria 2018-2022 describes the Food and Agriculture Organization's medium-term assistance priorities and objectives to be achieved over the 5 years period of the country's programming cycle. Speaking at the event, the Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, outlined the major dangers facing the agriculture sector in Nigeria.
There is hardly a reality of climate change and agriculture. But beyond that, there is also the danger to human habitation. I am glad it's here and I want to make this point that the new danger facing us is that of cheap selling everywhere in the country, where people are busy cutting down trees to produce firewood, even for export. Most people don't realize that the desert is coming at a terrible speed. The desert is closer than we imagine. And all we need for the desert to prosper is for trees to be cut down. As the desert approaches us, we are facing difficulties in finding the right kind of seeds to plant, which can endure high temperatures and also give us good yields for nourishing ourselves. The third one is the danger of plastics. Plastics which are not degradable and which, even when set on fire in our attempt to clean up these shopping bags we have, the fuel contains a very dangerous chemical called dioxin. Inhaling it is dangerous to our health.
Also speaking, the Food and Agriculture Organization's representative in Nigeria, Sofian Koroma, identified the 5 focus pillars for the Country Programming Framework for Nigeria.
The first one of this is to strengthen national food and nutrition security, to enhance nutrition sensitive and climate smart food systems. The second pillar is to support appropriate and operationally effective agricultural policy and regulatory framework. So when we talk about food safety, legal strategies, vital. The third one is to support Nigeria's economic diversification agenda and the creation of decent employment for youth and women. The fourth pillar is to improve efficient and sustainable management of natural resources and ecosystems. The fifth pillar is to enhance disaster risk reduction, resilience building, and emergency management towards strengthening the humanitarian development nexus. This was principally looking at the northeast, but also along the Green Belt, which the minister mentioned, and now we're seeing threats in areas in the rivers in the east and southern part of the country, which also falls into this. These priorities are well in line with Nigeria's development objectives and are captured in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan and the Agricultural Promotion Policy and other relevant policies and strategies.
Achieving food security for all is at the heart of the Food and Agriculture Organization's effort to make sure that people have regular access to enough high-quality food to live active and healthy lives. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Not Too Young to Run movement on Tuesday held a program tagged Convergence 2.0 in the Federal Capital Territory. The event, which was a gathering of young elected legislators, had the theme Leadership, Power and Politics. According to the organizers, Convergence 2.0 represents an opportunity for the newly elected young lawmakers to reflect on Nigeria's 20 years of democracy with a view to designing a new democratic and leadership model that promotes institutional reforms. Clearview TV's Aniete Patrick was there and now tells us more.
Today, 340 days after the signing of the Not Too Young to Run bill into law, those who spearheaded the movement say they have 17 under 30-year-olds who won their election into their respective state houses of assembly, and out of the 991 seats in the state houses of assembly, over 200 will be occupied by young elected lawmakers. This, according to them, is democracy taking shape, as no nation cannot talk about democracy without young people. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, while addressing the participants, said Nigerian youths are not just the leaders of tomorrow, but also today's leaders who are competent for today's leadership.
The Not Too Young to Run law is not so much about the exclusion of any particular class from the political space. Rather, it is designed to offer a platform for our youth population to build synergy with the segments of society for national development. As you have known by now, the law is not designed as a cutthroat competition between the young people and the old, but an opportunity to build a consensus, a sort of governance symphony where all energies are deployed for our common good. The importance of your elections is situated in the fact that the Nigerian youth, our youth demographic, at an estimated population of 78 million, would be the fourth largest country in Africa and 19th largest country in the world if it were a country. But what have our sheer numbers, numerical strength, been put to?
British High Commissioner Katrina Lang and the Executive Director of Yaga Africa, Samson Itodo, charged the 300 newly elected legislators that the responsibility is on their shoulders to ensure that integrity, fairness, inclusion, and accountability become the hallmarks of all their tenure. They added that they might have needed support in order to contest the 2019 elections, but come 2023, they should be prepared to run on their own record of achievements, adding that though it might be tough, they should be determined to be part of the change, however incremental it is.
It's also about inclusion, ensuring that a wide range of voices are heard, and it's about people being active in political participation. And it's really about how the youth of Nigeria, a very large proportion of the population of Nigeria, will help lead the way. And it's specifically in the next few days about how you as leaders are going to lead at a very personal level. What's your personal contribution to make to Nigeria's democracy?
The point is, our country is in dire need of excellent public leaders. Legislators who will consult with their people And when they rise up on the floor of the chamber to say, I, so and so, speaking or representing this constituency, that you're doing so in the true sense of the word. And we want to see leaders who will hold the executive to account in performing oversight, quality oversight, and then also the quality of our legislations. Really need to improve at different levels. And so when we talk about not too young to run, we're talking about leaders that will provide the excellent public leadership that Nigeria needs. And the burden is actually on you, and that is why we celebrate you today. But we also remind you of that burden. That as you become honorable members, or now that you're honorable members elect, and when you're inaugurated, that you're reminded of the fact that you went to hell to get the votes of people, and you are accountable to those people.
Some of the newly elected legislators, for their part, said they were set to bring new strategies to the table in the 9th Assembly following the passion spurred them to represent their constituencies, noting that they are set for good leadership despite the challenges in the Nigerian political space.
It's not about you shopping up, or how can I put it? It's not about you getting more promoted. Yeah, it's about you acting on the capacity of reason why the people have really voted you. It's about you acting the capacity of what you promise the electorate. And it's about you establishing the solution in order to reform the society. So, gathering information, gathering research and knowledge, I think what I need to do is to establish that will reform my local government, my constituency, my state, and Nigeria at large.
I'll have to be honest with you. It was a very tough journey. Had so many challenges along the way, from within the political sphere and even the constituents, getting them to understand what we're talking about, because these are people that have been abused over the years. They are used to to things being done a certain way, and then we came in one that didn't have the financial muscle like politicians are expected to have. But I went in and presented myself, and I think they got the message. And for me, it's a challenge. They've challenged me to go out. That what you were speaking about, want to see it in practice. I think I'm quite zealous and keen on change. I want to see how we can do things differently, how we can push forward laws, and even by example of as a public official, how we can do things differently to inspire others and also show that yes, it's possible, that in Nigeria things can work.
Through the convergence, the Not Too Young to Run movements and Yaga Africa are mobilizing a new breed of visionary public leaders to sanitize electoral politics, obtain political power through the ballot, and provide accountable, responsive, and innovative leadership. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
Moving forward, the police on Tuesday arraigned Senator Ademola Adeleke before a magistrate court in Mpape, Abuja, on charges of forgery. Adeleke, the People's Democratic Party's candidate in the last governorship election in Osun State, was accused in the fresh 5 counts of forging a letter of attestation and result from Muslim Grammar School Ede, Osun State. The police alleged that the senator submitted the said forged documents to the Independent National Electoral Commission as PDP's candidate in the said governorship election. He pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to him before the magistrate, Mohammed Suberu, who granted him bail in the sum of 2 million naira with one surety. The magistrate ruled that the surety must reside within the jurisdiction of the court. Already the police are prosecuting him on amended 7 counts of examination malpractices before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Federal High Court had granted him permission to travel to the United States of America on Tuesday. The magistrate on Tuesday granted permission to the defendant as earlier done by the Federal High Court. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, on Tuesday briefed the Senate on what the force is doing to stem the spate of terrorism, armed banditry, kidnapping and armed robbery in parts of the country. The briefing, which lasted about 3 hours, was held behind closed doors due to the sensitive nature of the issues under discussion. The apparent breakdown of law and order in parts of some northern states was said to have tapped the exchange between the lawmakers and the IGP. A source that was part of the discussion described the presentation of the police boss as grim. The source, who said it was a session of reality, insisted that those at the helm of affairs must act fast to rescue the country from looming danger. He said that questions were asked and answered by the police chief to the best of his ability. The Senate had last week invited the police boss to brief it on what the police is doing to address mounting insecurity in parts of the country. The invitation of the police boss was sequel to a motion by Senator Shehu Sani, Kaduna Central, who drew the attention of his colleagues to increasing cases of banditry and kidnapping, especially along Abuja-Kaduna Highway. Immediately, the IGP arrived at the National Assembly around 11:22 a.m. He was ushered into the Senate chamber around 11:25 by the clerk to the Senate in company of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Assembly Matters, Senator Itaina. The Senate leader, Senator Ahmed Lawan, had earlier moved that the order paper should be rearranged to enable the Senate take the briefing of the IGP first before any other item on the order paper. The prayer was unanimously adopted. The briefing lasted until 2:45 p.m. and Senate President Bukola Saraki, who presided, said the Senate in a closed-door session was briefed by the police boss on armed banditry, terrorist activities, kidnapping, armed robbery and other security challenges confronting the country. On his part, Adamuto reported after the briefing that the police would recruit 10,000 officers and men this year to beef up the capability of the police in the face of mounting challenges. The police boss also assured that any policeman found culpable in the alleged raping and molesting ladies arrested at various nightclubs will not be spared. You're watching the news coming to you on Clearview Television. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, there'll be more stories. Please stay with us.
Yes, now. It's only that too. Hey, Omar Bashir of Sudan has even resigned, and even Bouteflika of Algeria. Yes. Edo State. Yes, now, even the state government is ready to host the 2020 National Sports Festival. Oh, okay. Alright, no wahala now. Bye. Why are you clapping?
Why are you getting all this news for? Algeria, Sudan, even Edo State.
Decoder, of course.
The decoder?
Yes.
I stopped a long time ago.
Why?
High cost. Now I was paying 7,000 naira a month. It went up to 9,000 naira. And even the other one I was paying 2,000 naira. It's now 4,000 naira.
Really?
And what still? Whether you watch or not, your money is burning, and they even increase the rate every month.
Wait, is it Night Concert that is doing all of this?
Night Concert? Which one is Night Concert?
Night Concert, that is what I use, that is what I embrace.
Night Company.
Sit down, let me explain to you. Now, Night Concert is the secret of cheap viewing. All you have to do, just get your decoder, any free-to-air decoder at all, Strongo, Visato, PowerSato, and tell the installer to track it to Night Concert for you.
Wait. Is that not where Clearview TV is?
Now you are talking now.
So you get all your latest news from there?
Wait, it's only that oh. Entertainment oh, Hausa programs oh, sports oh, even news from the villa and plenty other things.
No. I'll be back.
When are you going to?
To get my decoder, of course.
Do you know the pleasant news? Night Concert, now our own, now we get them.
We get them. How do you mean?
Do you know you can watch Night Concert in over 38 countries in this world, and it's owned by the Nigerian government?
The Nigerian government?
Yes.
And I've been burning my money on that company from Southeast Africa or Northeast Africa or somewhere.
And the news is spreading like wildfire. It's switchover time for these all in one phenomenon. Number one, now we owe now. I mean, it's Nigeria Communication Satellite, Night Concert. 2, it is viewed in about 38 countries. And 3, no subscription. Just buy the free-to-air decoder. I repeat, you don't pay subscription. Enough of the ripoff. Be part of this, and you have access to Clearview Television 24 hours, 7 days.
The Nigerian Air Force says its Air Task Force ATF for Operation Duran Mikia has destroyed the camp of a major kingpin, Alhaji Lawal, neutralizing up to 20 of his fighters near Rugu Forest in Zamfara. Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, NAF Director of Public Relations and Information, disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja. Daramola said the dawn attack was executed after credible intelligence indicated that the notorious kingpin was camped along with dozens of his fighters at a settlement about 4 kilometers west of Rugu Forest. He said that the settlement was where Lawal kept his logistics supplies, coordinated operations, and launched attacks against security forces as well as innocent civilians. He said the attack helicopter carried out mop-up attacks on the target, adding that no fewer than 20 bandits were neutralized in the airstrikes. The spokesman said the NAF, working with consonance with surface forces and other security agencies, would sustain its operations to flush the bandits out of the northwest of the country. The federal government has begun the implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan geared towards addressing the frequent clashes between farmers and herdsmen in the country. The NLTP, which was approved in January by the National Economic Council headed by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, will support the development of ranches in 7 pilot states for improved livestock production. It will also focus on rebuilding common facilities, worship places, and individual homes that have been destroyed. Speaking with reporters during a capacity building workshop for community and religious leaders in Jos on Monday, the advisor to the president on rule of law, Fatima Waziri Azi, said the government was committed to implementing the policy in Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue, Adamawa, Taraba, Zamfara, and Kaduna states. Waziri Azi said although the scheme was conceived to address clashes between herdsmen and farmers in the 36 states, the government will not impose the policy on any state. The abduction of the district head of Daura, Alhaji Musa Umar, who is also the husband of President Muhammadu Buhari's niece, Hajia Bilki, has shown that security agencies are not giving any town, including that of the president, preferential treatment, the presidency said on Monday. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, said these in Abuja, adding that what has happened brings the message home that it is a national problem and that because the president comes from Daura, it is not to say there cannot be crime in Daura or that Daura will be specially treated. Shehu, however, scored the Buhari administration 98% in the fight against insurgency, since according to him, Boko Haram is now confined to the fringes of Lake Chad. Responding to a report by the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu's claim that 1,071 persons lost their lives in crime-related cases across the country in the first quarter of 2019, Shehu said despite the recent spike in killings and banditry as well as kidnapping, the statistics were still better than those of previous administration. Shehu said although he will not want to compare figures, the facts remain secret. Community leaders have decried incessant ritual killings in Arigidia Koko in Ondo State, saying the people have resorted to divine intervention. It was gathered that the Zaki of Arigidi, Oba Isa Olanikbeku, and the Obaing Council and the entire community have embarked on interdenominational prayers, traditional efforts coupled with local vigilante efforts to unravel the scourge of ritual killings. Thus, it was further gathered was strange to Arigidia Koko, which was one of the very peaceful communities in the area. 2 women were allegedly killed for ritual at Arigidia Koko with some of their sensitive parts removed clinically. The Zaki of the area, Oba Isa Olanik Bekun, at a meeting with the women who were the recent victims of the gruesome killing, disclosed that the son of the community from Ogo quarters, Mr. Tunde Ajileye alias F4, 30 years old, had been arrested. He said his father handed him over to the traditional ruler, who then handed him over to the police. While noting that he had been taken to police headquarters, Akure, for further interrogation, he said that 3 suspects were now at State Criminal Investigation Department (CID) Akure for their alleged roles in ritual killings at Arigidi. A woman leader, Mrs. Ayoka Oshodi, on behalf of the women, blamed youths for looking for hot money, appealing to parents to be vigilant on their children living above their income. Meanwhile, the chairman of Akoko Northwest Local Government Area, Elder Samson Akonde, said his administration will give priority to security and generation of revenue. He said he was not happy with the recent killing of 2 women at Arigidi Akoko and called on his management team to liaise with traditional rulers to make sure lives and property were safe in the area. A group of indigenous Gbagi people of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, on Tuesday disrupted traffic on the Omar Musa Yaradua Way to protest against the federal government. The protesters blocked the highway for about an hour, causing gridlock. Some air travelers who were rushing to catch their flights at the airport were frustrated by the development. One of the protesters, Fred Ekeng, said that the protest was to drive home their demands for recognition as indigenous people. Ekeng said the protest was to tell government that the people should be given their proper place in the territory. According to him, the people are saying no to ceaseless taking over of their land. A coalition of Northern Nigerian youth associations under the umbrella of Arewa Youth Federation (AYF) held a protest in Zamfara State on Monday, urging government to checkmate the activities of bandits in the state. The demonstration followed the reported killing of about 50 persons in 3 local government areas of the state at the weekend. He regretted that despite well-intended steps so far taken by the federal government and implementation in part by the nation's security and military services, the situation remained unabated. According to him, this has confirmed long-standing fears that political elites and traditional rulers in parts of the country are behind a wave of violence. His appeal came as the Emir of Katsina State, Alhaji Abdul Mumin Kabir Usman, warned that the region could face food crisis unless kidnapping and banditry were contained. The monarch spoke when Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Audu Ogbe and Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Emefiele visited him at his palace. Both men were in the state to launch the distribution of cotton seeds to farmers. Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission has opened fresh probe on the alleged financial mismanagement in Kano Emirate Council under the watch of Emir of Kano Mohammed Sanusi II. Already, the commission has invited 2 uncles and brother of the Emir to appear before it on Thursday. The accountant in the Kano Emirate Council will also be a guest to the commission. They are to answer questions on what they know over alleged financial scandal rocking the Kano Emirate Council. Those invited were alleged to either have knowledge of the allegation against the Emirate Council or have allegedly participated in the alleged act directed at the Royal Council. Those invited by the Kano Anti-Graft Commission include Emir Sanusi's 2 uncles, namely Isa Sanusi Bayero and Mania Sanusi Bayero, who is Chief of Staff of the Emirate Council. Falakin Kano and Emir Sanusi's brother Mujitaba, who is also the accountant of the council, Muhammad Sani Karo, was also invited to give explanations to the Kano Anti-Graft Agency. A letter sent to all the invitees stated that the allegation violates Section 26 of the Commission's enabling law in the management of Kano State Emirate Council funds, covering the period 2013 to 2017. You're still watching the news coming to you from Clearview TV, live from Abuja. We'll take a short break. When we come back, there will be more. Please stay with us.
Indeed, things are happening, no? Yes, now. It's not only that, too. Hey, Omar Bashir of Sudan has even resigned, and even Bouteflika of Algeria. Yes. Edo State. Yes, now, even the state government is ready to host the 2020 National Sports Festival. Oh, okay. Alright, no wahala now. Bye. Why are you clapping?
Why are you getting all this news for? Algeria, Sudan, even Edo State.
Decoder, of course.
The decoder?
Yes.
I stopped a long time ago.
Why?
High cost. I was paying 7,000 naira a month. It went up to 9,000 naira. And even the other one was paying 2,000 naira. It's now 4,000 naira.
Really?
And what still? Whether you watch or not, your money is burning, and they even increase the rate every month.
Wait, is it Night Comsat that is doing all of this?
Night Comsat? Which one is Night Comsat?
Night Comsat, that is what I use. That is what I embrace.
Night Company.
Sit down, let me explain to you. Now, Night Comsat is the secret of cheap viewing. All you have to do, just get your decoder, any free-to-air decoder at all, Strongo, Visato, PowerSato, and tell the installer to track it to Night Comsat for you.
Wait. Is that not where Clearview TV is?
Now you are talking now.
So you get all your latest news from there?
Wait, it's not only that entertainment Hausa programs sports even news from the villa and plenty other things.
No. I'll be back.
When are you going
to get my decoder, of course.
Do you know the pleasant news? Night Comsat, now we're on. Now we get them.
We get them. How do you mean?
Do you know you can watch Night Comsat in over 38 countries in this world, and it's owned by the Nigerian government?
The Nigerian government?
Yes.
And I've been burning my money on that company from Southeast Africa or Northeast Africa or somewhere.
And the news is spreading like wildfire. It's switchover time for these all in one phenomenon. Number one, now we owe now. I mean, it's Nigeria Communication Satellite, Night Comsat. 2, it is viewed in about 38 countries. And 3, no subscription. Just buy the free-to-air decoder. I repeat, you don't pay subscription. Enough of the ripoff. Be part of this, and you have access to Clearview television 24 hours, 7 days.
Welcome back. The Nigerian Labour Congress NLC will from Wednesday, May 8, 2019 commence a peaceful protest and picketing of the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige. Reason? Failure of the minister to inaugurate the reconstituted board of the National Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, led by Frank Kokori, an elder statesman and former pro-democracy activist. Briefing newsmen at the Labour House in Abuja on Tuesday, NLC President Ayuba Waba alleged that Labour and Employment Minister has ulterior motive for failing to inaugurate the board. Clearview TV's Prudence Okona now completes the story.
The National Social Insurance Trust Fund was set up under the NSITF Act number 88 of 1993 to warehouse contributions from employers for their workers. Therefore, the major stakeholders in the NSITF are workers and employers who by law are guaranteed 2 slots on the board of the NSITF. The Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment has only 1 slot on the board. Pursuant to Part 1, Section 41A to E and Part 2, Section 4 of the NSIFT Act, the NSIFT is supposed to operate under the supervision of a board. Against this backdrop, the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, says it is an aberration and contempt of the laws for the NSITF to be allowed to operate for 4 years without a board. Ayuba accused the Minister of Labour, Dr. Chris Ngige, of peddling falsehood on the manner the chairman of NSITF, Frank Kokori, was appointed.
A lot of falsehoods have been peddled by the Minister of Labour and Employment on the manner Chief Kokori was appointed and his suitability for the job. We want to use this opportunity of this press conference to debunk the lies being peddled by Dr. Chris Ngige against Chief Frank Kokori, a foremost patriot, absolute gentleman, and a hero of democracy, that people like Dr. Chris Ngige are today enjoying the dividends of the struggle of people like Kokori. Contrary to the lies by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chief Frank Kokori appointment by President Muhammadu Buhari was without any prompting by NLC or any other individual.
On the alleged failure of the NLC to submit names of board of nominees, Ayuba says it is all lies.
Many more lies veiled as excuses have been told by the Minister of Labour and Employment on the protracted delay in inaugurating the board. One of such lies was that the minister claimed that he has been waiting for President Muhammadu Buhari to revalidate the appointment of Chief Kokori upon his return from medical leave in 2017. Given the increased public opinion over his refusal to inaugurate the board, Dr. Ngege have resorted to more lies. In fact, recently he wrote to the NLC, precisely on the 9th of January 2019. Therefore, by tomorrow 7 o'clock, we also invite all of you here to NLC office, where the process will then kick off to make sure that we're able to get justice.
Also speaking, the yet-to-be inaugurated board chairman, Frank Kokori, expressed disappointment that the minister resorted to degrading his personality over phantom skeletons in his cupboard as reason for the continued refusal to inaugurate the NSITF board.
But I never knew that after that freedom, 20 years after democracy, a prisoner of conscience like Frankovie Kokori will be treated so shabbily by a man like Chris Ngige. Ngige talks of qualification.
President Muhammadu Buhari had approved the reconstitution of the NSITF board with Frank Kokori as chairman since 2017. Also on the agenda of Labour leadership expected to be inaugurated by Minister of Labour Chris Ngige is the National Labour Advisory Council, NLAC. Prudence Okonna reporting for Clearview Television.
The Infection Control and Prevention Unit of the National Hospital Abuja, in compliance with the World Health Organization (WHO), has called on health facilities to prevent healthcare-associated sepsis through hand hygiene and action on infection prevention and control. The call was part of a sensitization campaign which commemorated the annual World Hand Hygiene Day celebrated on May 5 in Abuja. Correspondent Ifeoluwa Ishola was there and our reports.
Campaign. The Infection Control and Prevention Unit of the National Hospital Abuja sensitized health workers as well as patients on the need to keep their hands clean and free from germs. Speaking at the event, Chief Medical Director, National Hospital Abuja, Jaf Momo, said the hospital has put in place preventive measures to ensure that hands are kept clean.
Studies have shown worldwide that hospital-acquired infection can be prevented through regular, proper hand washing or sanitization. At the National Hospital, we have actually embarked on producing our own hand sanitizers in order to make sure they are widely available at every point of care for not only patients, for not only staff use, but even patients who want them can also procure them and use them, or patients' relation who are caring for the patient can also procure and use.
Secretary of the Infection Control and Prevention Committee, Dr. Nubwan Bidugu, elucidated on the aim of the sensitization and its importance to health.
Hand hygiene is one of the most important or the most common reasons why infections are spread in hospitals. So you would see a patient coming with a stroke, and then the patient will get pneumonia from either other patients or from the hands of healthcare workers. So today is about promoting the importance of hand hygiene. When hand hygiene is performed correctly, appropriately, at appropriate times, then infections will not spread across hospitals, and of course we know it will not spread to families outside the hospital, to visitors, and even to staff. So hand hygiene is the most important thing you can do in hospitals, even at home, to prevent the spread of infections.
World Hand Hygiene Day, marked globally on the 5th of May, highlights the importance of hand hygiene in healthcare to prevent infections. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
On the foreign scene, 2 Reuters journalists jailed in Myanmar for their reporting on the Rohingya crisis have been freed, while Lone 33 and So all 29 were released after a presidential amnesty. They spent more than 500 days in prison on the outskirts of Yangon. They had been convicted under the Official Secrets Act and sentenced to 7 years in jail last September. Their jailing was seen as an assault on press freedom and raised questions about Myanmar's democracy. As he left prison, Wat Long vowed to continue his reporting and said he was excited to return to work at the International News Agency. Both men have families with young children. Wat Long's wife, Pan Mon, only discovered she was pregnant after her husband's arrest. He has only seen his daughter a handful of times before on her visits to prison. The journalists were released along with thousands of other prisoners as part of mass amnesties that take place annually around Myanmar's New Year. Reuters editor-in-chief said the reporters who last month won the prestigious Pulitzer Prize for their work had become symbols of press freedom. Their case was widely seen as a test of press freedom in Myanmar, and the country's de facto leader Aung San Suu Kyi, herself a former political prisoner, was criticized for defending the jailing of both journalists. Turkey's electoral body has been condemned for ordering Istanbul's local elections to be reheld after an opposition victory in March. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's AK party had claimed there were irregularities and corruption behind the opposition CHP's slim win. But CHP's Ekrem İmamoğlu, who was confirmed as Istanbul's mayor in April, called the decision treacherous. The vote, which will be held on 23rd June, has sparked protest in the city. Hundreds of residents gathered in several districts of Istanbul on Monday, banging pots and pans and shouting anti-government slogans. The European Parliament also said the decision to rerun the election would end the credibility of democratic elections in Turkey. An AKP representative on the electoral board said the rerun was called because some electoral officials were not civil servants and some result papers had not been signed. But CHP deputy chair said the rerun showed it was illegal to win against the AKP party. Dozens have protested outside India's Supreme Court a day after a panel of judges dismissed a sexual harassment complaint against Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi. The protesters carried placards and shouted slogans on Tuesday as they wanted an impartial investigation into allegations against Gogoi by a former court assistant of having made unwanted sexual advances last year. Transparent and fair due process is a must, read one of the placards, while another placard read Supreme Injustice. Security was strengthened outside the court with dozens of paramilitary police and trucks carrying water cannons deployed in the area. Police quickly dispersed the crowd and most protesters were taken away in police vans soon after they gathered. A journalist was said to have been chucked into a police van for covering the protest. Police at the site said it was illegal to hold demonstrations at the Supreme Court. In a complaint to the court last month, a 35-year-old woman accused Gogoi of harassing her when she worked at his residential office last year. She said Gogoi hugged her around the waist and touched her all over her body with his arms and pressing his body against his. And lastly, on the foreign scene, congratulations have poured in from around the world following the birth of Duke and Duchess of Sussex's son. The newborn was delivered at 5:26 a.m. on Monday, with Prince Harry saying the baby was absolutely to die for. The palace said the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, and the Prince of Wales were all delighted with the news. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, was said to be overjoyed, while former U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama said she and Barack were thrilled. The baby, who has not been named yet, is seventh in line to the throne, behind the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Cambridge, and his children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, as well as Prince Harry. He is the Queen's 8th great-grandchild. Speaking after the birth, Harry said they plan to present the baby to the media in 2 days so that everyone can see him. He said Meghan and the baby were doing incredibly well, adding that they were still thinking about names for the infant. Arthur, a traditional royal name that is among the middle names of the baby's grandfather, the Prince of Wales, and his uncle, the Duke of Cambridge, is the favorite with many of the bookies, while Alexandra and James are also popular. Prime Minister Theresa May, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, and Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon were among the politicians to offer their congratulations to the royal couple on Twitter. Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby, who married the couple in May last year, said, "May God bless the new family with love, health, and happiness." Up next is sports, and of course, our sports correspondent is standing by to bring us the very latest in the world of sports.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side.
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview TV News. I'm Oguntimei Tolulakpo Oguntimei. Head coach of Taifa Stars of Tanzania, Emmanuel Munike, has urged fast rising star Samuel Chukwueze to embrace the bigger challenge and represent Nigeria at next month's African Cup of Nations in Egypt, rather than play at the Under-20 World Cup in Poland. Chukwueze has been faced with the dilemma of picking between the two competitions, and Amunike, who coached the player at under-17 level, however, states that the final decision still lies with the player. He is playing top-level football already. For me, I prefer him to play for Super Eagles and give way for other players to play for the under-20. He has demonstrated that he can shine at the big stages after playing against teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid, which speaks a lot about him, Amunike said. The former AFCON winner, however, urged the players to embrace the challenge and see it as a destiny from God. KLC Gang, who are poised to be crowned champions of Belgium this season, have returned to sign Super Eagles striker Paul Onuachu, whose Danish club have placed a price tag of €5 million, about 2 billion naira. Genk want Onuachu to replace Tanzanian star Mpuana Samata, who is set for a big money transfer this summer after a stellar campaign. According to media in Denmark, Genk sports director Dimitri De Conde flew out to Denmark Monday for talks on Onuachu. It will be recalled that the Genk transfer Eagle star Wilfred Didi to Premier League club Leicester City for £15 million after a season and a half in Belgium. Onuachu has scored 21 goals and provided 6 assists for FC Midtjylland this season. The towering centre forward also looks good to feature at next month's African Cup of Nations in Egypt. Imba defender Valentine Zowanfor have been reported to have been offered $300,000 by Turkey champion Galatasaray. This offer is half of the valuation by Imba of the player. Zowanfor made his official debut for Imba this season and has made 3 league appearances so far. Last night, the Nigerian under-20 star quit the Flying Eagles training camp to fly out from Munich, Germany to Istanbul, Turkey to see the transfer reportedly with Galatasaray. The management of Benin Insurance FC has debunked the news making the round that the head coach, Mondio Dege, has resigned. According to a statement released by the team media officer, Kehinde Osagede, which stated that the management threw their weight behind him to continue to lead the team, adding that the coach trained with the team on Monday. The head of Benin Insurance technical crew, Coach Mondio Dege, has not resigned or stepped aside from his position, as it's being rumored on social media since the early hours of today. For the avoidance of doubt, Mondio Dege is currently busy alongside his technical crew, preparing his players for the crucial away match against Lobby Stars of Makurdi. The management hereby appealed to players, supporters, and the general public to disregard all form of media reports that Mondio Dege has resigned. Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola admitted he was urging Vincent Kompany not to shoot as the lineup is brilliant winner against Leicester City. The City's captain long range strike gave his side a 1-0 win, meaning they will retain their Premier League title if they beat Brighton on Sunday. Belgian defender Kompany's goal was his first from outside the penalty area for City after 11 years with the club. I said, "No shoot, Vinny, no shoot," said Guardiola. And Kompany revealed the City boss had not been the only person doubting him before he let fly. Kompany had not hit the target before from outside the penalty area since 2013, but he has saved his goal for big moments. He scored a vital goal against Manchester United in 2012 to turn the title race in City's favour, while his past three have come in last year's Carabao Cup final, the Manchester Derby, and then Monday's win against Leicester City. FIFA and the local organizing committee have announced that French singer Jane as the official performer of the FIFA Women's World Cup opening ceremony. With just 1 month until the biggest single sports women's event on Friday, 7 June, before France faced Korea Republic in the highly anticipated opening match of FIFA Women's World Cup 2019, Jane will perform a set of her hit songs to the international audience of fans at Paris Parc des Princes and around the world. Having spent her childhood living on different continents, Jane's international upbringing forged her view of the world and influenced her artistic universe. Born to Madagascar and French parents, Jane embodies the global element of FIFA Women's World Cup. The world got to know the 26-year-old singer-songwriter when she released her new diamond debut album, Zanaka, in 2015. Currently on a global tour, Jane has recently dropped a single called Gloria, her first new music since her 2018 album Soldier. Known for her upbeat yet socially conscious inspired pop music, Jane will perform Gloria and several other songs for millions of international football fans during the FIFA Women's World Cup opening ceremony. The FIFA Women's World Cup France 2019 will be played from 7th June to 7th July in Grenoble, Le Havre, Lyon, Montpellier, Nice, Paris, Reims, Rennes, and Valenciennes. That's it from the sporting segment of Clearview TV News. I'm Oguntimehin to Lulapo Oguntimehin.
Juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side.
And just before we go, let's take a look at the stories that made headlines. The President of the United Nations General Assembly, Maria Fernanda Espinosa Garza, met with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa Abuja and commended the federal government for playing leading role in regional peace and security. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, Tuesday briefed the Senate on what the force is doing to stem the spate of terrorism, armed banditry, kidnapping, and armed robbery in parts of the country. And also reported that 2 Reuters journalists jailed in Myanmar for their reporting on the Rohingya crisis have been freed. That's the news, but remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV, like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online, follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, also at Clearview TV _NG for Instagram. You can also watch Clearview TV on Nigecomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am 10 Ekpang. Many thanks for watching.